Light,
Okay.
camera, fraction.
Okay, very good. So what we're talking about today is word problems. We're moving into a segment where we're going to actually be we're going to be doing different types of word problems. The first one is age word problems, okay, that you're going to experience. And these can be very confusing when you read them. You think, oh my God, how am I going to figure that out? And so I'm going to actually show you a method using a box, a table, right, that gives you a place to put all this information. And once it's in, it's relatively easy to create an equation from that information in that table. And then once you create that equation, you solve for x, and then you basically, found your answer. Okay? So that's the idea. So I'm going to show you a format or an approach to do this. This is not the only approach. There are other approaches that you can use to solve these, but I personally find this one of the easier approaches. So first of all, I'll just read the problem. It says, Andrea is 6 years older than Mira. 13 years ago, Andrea was 3 times as old as Mira. How old is each now? So it's a little hard to fathom how to do that. I mean, like you could do a guess and check, So how old is each now? Well, we could try. Well, Andrea, let's say she's 6 years older than Mira. Mira could be 1. And so then Andrea would be 7. And then you could keep trying and see if that's 3 years older. You could just keep going. But it might take you like a little time to do that, right? That's guess and check. So I'm more interested in algebraically. How would we do it algebraically? Set it up so that we can solve it every time. All right. So what I'm going to suggest is that we create a box. And this box is going to have 2 columns and 2 rows. These are rows and these are columns. Okay? And I'm going to have, for each row, I'm going to have the name of the person. So I've got Andrea and I have Mira, right? And then in this first column up here, this is really important, so make sure you write this down. This first column is their, well, let me just say age now. Age now. Right? Okay? And that's usually the first sentence that goes in there. And then the second column is the age at the other time. What's the other time they said the age is?
13 years ago.
13 years ago. Would you say that is plus 13 or minus 13?
Minus 13.
13 years ago. Minus, right? Doesn't that make sense? That's in the past. So it's like you're going to be subtracting that. Okay, so I'm going to put minus 13 right there. Okay? And all I'm going to do, now that I've set up my box, this is what I did. I set up my box and I went up to here 13 years ago and then I stopped. I did not read all this stuff. Andrea was 3 times as old as Mira. I didn't look at that. I'm just reading the first sentence and 13 years ago, so I know what the other time frame is. And I set up my box with the age now and the 13 years ago, minus 13, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take this first sentence and I'm going to plug the information in. It says Andrea is 6 years older than Mira. Which is the foundation? Who is the foundational age? I mean, which is based on whose age is based on whose age?
I think Mira.
So yeah, Mira is the foundational age, right? Andrea's age is based on that, right? If we knew Mira's, we could easily find Andrea's, right? If Mira is 1, Andrea would be 6 plus 1, right? Which would be 7, right? So Mira is the foundational age. It's almost always the last person mentioned. The last name in the sentence, and I'm going to make that an X. So I like to I like to underline that name and make it an X. So over here in my box, for their age right now, Mira's age is X. Does that make sense? So I'm going to put an X right there. Now, how would I write Andrea's age? She is 6 years older than Mira. So Gavin.
X plus 1 or 6 plus 6?
X plus 1 or 6 plus 6?
X plus 6.
Oh, X plus 6. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, right? 6 years older than Mira, 6 years older than X is X plus 6. Beautiful. All right. Now, what would I put? What do you think I'd put here? Isaac?
Well, for Andrea, you would put X, or 3X, and then Mira would be.
So Isaac's making a mistake, making a
darn it.
key mistake. Key mistake. Do not, and this is really important, everybody should be listening. When you look at this, when you start reading this problem, and you've got your box, it says 13 years ago, stop! Do not read past that 13 years ago. You have to fill this box in first before you have earned the right to read beyond that 13 years ago. Does that make sense? You have to do that. So the question is, notice this column says minus 13. So all I'm going to do in this column is subtract 13 from this column. That's all I'm doing. What is x plus 6 minus 13?
X plus 7?
No,
Negative
X
7.
minus
X
7.
minus 7, right? X minus 7, right? I just subtracted 13 from 6, and I got negative 7, right? What would I do here?
X minus 13.
X minus 13. Beautiful. All right? Fist to 5. You guys get this so far?
Is that it? That's all you do?
That's all you do for setting up the box.
Oh, okay.
All right? Everybody understands how to set up the box. Okay.
How did you get X minus 13?
Because here's Mira's age now. 13 years ago,
Oh.
Mira's age was X minus 13, right? It makes sense. X, this is X plus 6 minus 13. But 6 minus 13 is negative 7, right? All right, so now, this is the key. So Raven, if you need to step out for a few minutes and get centered, that's fine, but I'm afraid you're going to be bothering some of your neighbors, okay?
It's my fault.
So what?
It's all good.
Okay, I just want to be sure. So Andrea is 6 years old, and we've taken care of all of this first sentence and 13 years ago. The second sentence, 13 years ago, which column is 13 years ago? The right one. Now they're giving us information based on this 13 years ago, right? Andrea was, that was 13 years ago. So whenever it says Andrea, I'm going to write X minus 7. Whenever it says Mira, I'm going to write X minus 13. Does that make sense? Because I'm only dealing with this last column. I'm not dealing with now anymore. Because this second sentence says 13 years ago. So I've got to use all this information. So it says Andrea. And I literally do this. I underline each word. And I do something in I write part of an equation as I go. It says Andrea. What would I write for Andrea?
X minus 7.
Yes, X minus 7. So I'm going to go X minus 7. Okay, was. What am I going to write for was? If it had been present tense, it would have been is. What would I write for is? Equals. So past tense is also an equals. Was is also an equals. So I'd write an equals. 3 times. How would I write 3 times? So I'm going to do 3 parentheses, because parentheses always means multiply, right? So 3 times. Don't you agree with me? That says 3 times, right? 3 times. I just did 3 times. As old as Mira. What's Mira's age? Gavin? X minus 13. Period. And then it says how old is each now. We just wrote an equation based on the information in the second column. Is that clear? Get that? And we're going to use, this is the magic of this. I think it's really magical. Because look, we used information from the second column, which was 13 years ago. And we are going to solve for x. And when we solve for x, where is x in the box? It's in the now column, right? It's Mira's age right now. And we're solving for that by using 13 years ago information. Isn't that cool? So we're gonna, all we have to do now is solve this. So we gotta do our distributive property. We got x minus 7 is equal to 3x minus 39, right? And then I immediately see I don't like my x's on both sides of my equal sign. That's the first thing I'm gonna deal with. I'm gonna get the smaller number of x's and move it over. And that's the only way you can do that is either add or subtract. That's a positive x, so I'm gonna subtract x. Subtract x. Draw my line. I have negative 7 Very common thing, people will forget that negative sign right there. They'll just write 7 because they don't have the x minus 7. But it's negative 7 equals 3x's minus 1x is 2x minus 39. Now I want to solve for x. So this minus 39 is in the way. I got to move it over here, right? Plus 39. Plus 39. Draw my line. So I have 39 minus 7. That's 32, right? All right? 32 is equal to 2x. All right? I want to know what 1x is, not 2x's, so I'm going to divide by 2. Divide by 2, and I'm going to put my x on the left. X is equal to 16. So I always go back and look at my question, the last sentence. How old is each now? Okay, so I know x is Mira. That's Mira's age right now. So I just say Mira is 16 years old, and Andrea is 16 plus 6.
22.
22. 22 years old. Okay. Fist of 5. Did you see how we did it? Okay. Okay, so everybody felt pretty confident on how to set up how to create the box and fill it in. Am I right? The hard part, the hardest part most people struggle with is getting this equation. Once you get the equation, though, solving it is really quite simple. By solving it, we got x equals 16. And x equals 16, I just go to the now column, and these tell me her age. 16 is hers, and 16 plus 6, which is 22, is Andrea's, right? So let's try another one, okay? Now that you understand the process, is anybody confused on how I got this equation?
Yeah. Kind of.
Okay,
We
so
should do another one.
let's just read that part again and just see if we can recognize how we did it. Okay, 13 years ago, that's the second sentence. 13 years ago, this is all filled out. We can now read past that 13 years ago, right? Andrea, here's the 13 years ago column. I'm only using this column now. I'm only using that column. Andrea, x minus 7, was equals 3 times 3 parentheses, as old as Mira, x minus 13.
Wait, why'd you write x plus 6 minus 13?
Because that's how I got x minus 7. Somebody asked me how I got that.
Oh, okay.
I did x plus 6 minus 13. And that gave me x minus 7.
Okay.
Okay? With me? I'll erase it so you don't
Gosh.
have to see it. All right, so that's how we did it. Now let's try another one. So can I erase? Oops. All right, here we go. Let's try. Yeah, let's try that one. How much time do I have? Well, maybe I should do a different one. What?
Can you just give us problems like these?
They are. A lot of them are like this. But okay. Well, let's just see. Ideally, I'd like to do 2 more. So let's just see if we can. We just kind of ran out of time. Okay, so here we go. Mike is 2 times. So write it as I'm writing it. As old as London. That's how you spell it, L-O-D-E-N. These guys used to go here. 12 years ago, 12 years ago, he, Michael, was 4 times, where am I? Was 4 times as old as London, L-O-D-E-N. How old are each now? So while you're finishing that, I'm going to start drawing my box. So we have Mike, and we have London. We have now. And what will I put for my column, the head of my column, my second column? 12 years ago.
Minus
Bullseye. Minus 12. Are you guys done writing the problem?
12. Yes.
Good question. All right. So now, let's try plugging this stuff in. Mike is 2 times as old as London. What's the foundational person? The foundation.
Wait, is it
Whose
London?
age is based on whose? Yeah.
London.
London's age is the foundation, right? That's the base. That's my X. It's almost always the last name, right, in the sentence.
Wait, would Mike be 2x?
Yes, exactly, because 2 times X, right? So London is X, and Mike is 2 times as old as London. So that's 2X, right? It's not X plus 2, it's 2X,
Oh, I'm sure you
2 times, right? Now, what would I put here? I can't keep reading, I gotta finish this box.
Yeah, would it be 2x minus 12?
Yes, exactly. This minus 12, right? 2x minus 12. All right, what would be here? X minus 12. Okay, now we have finished the box. Now we have earned the right to read past 12 years ago. So here we go. 12 years ago, that means I'm going to use only this information in my equation. All right, when it says Mike, I'm going to write 2x minus 12. When it says London, I'm going to write x minus 12. So 12 years ago, he, that's Mike. What do I write for Mike?
Do I 2x minus 12?
Okay, 2x minus 12. Okay, was.
Equals.
Was is equals. 4 times. How would I write 4 times? 4 parentheses 4 times, right? 4 times. As old as London. London is x minus 12. Oh, wow, easy. And that's it. How old are each now? So we're now ready to solve our equation. Everybody understand how I got this?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's solve it. Boom, boom. So I have 2x minus 12 is equal to 4x minus 48. And then I'm going to, I see my x's are on both sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract 2x, subtract 2x. That gives me negative 12 is equal to 2x minus 48. I want my 2x all by itself. This minus 48 is in the way. So I'm going to add 48. Add 48. That's going to give me 36 is equal to 2x. Right? Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X is equal to 18. Okay? So now, what's the question? How old are each now? Well, I know X is 18. London is X right now. Therefore, London is 18 years old. And Mike is what?
36.
2 times 18, which is 36 years old.
Why do you write 36 over 2 though? I don't get that.
Because, look, I had 2x, 36 equals 2x. But I don't want to know what 2x is, I want to know what 1x is.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm dividing by 2, dividing both sides by 2, and that gave me x equals 18. 36, every fraction is a division problem. 36 divided by 2 is 18, right? Okay, fist of 5. Making sense? All right, I think we have time to do one more. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I think it'll help you if we do one more. So let's just do it. I'm going to erase. If you didn't get all this down, feel free to copy from your neighbor. All right, here we go. All right. So 3.
No.
So write as I write. Please write because we're running out of time. So Dina is 9 years older than Joseph.
got so.
In 3 years. So you guys, some people are not writing because I can hear them laughing. I'm sure they're not writing. In 3 years, Dina, you guys should be writing.
I am.
What? Okay, so, yeah, okay. So, Bo, you should be writing. Dina's age will be 6 years less than twice Joseph's age. How old is each now? Gosh, now. Hopefully by now you're starting to see the beauty of the box. It really does help organize information, and it tells you kind of where to begin, right? So immediately I have Dina, and I have Joseph. And I have now, and I have in 3 years. What would I put for in 3 years as my column heading?
+3.
+3, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Dina is 9 years older than Joseph. Joseph is the last name, right, mentioned? Seems to me like Joseph's age is the foundational age.
Wait,
Yeah,
is it,
Joseph's X.
right?
so
So
Joseph's
that's
X and then Dina's X plus 9?
Yes, it's 9 years older than, so Joseph is X, Dina is X plus 9. Good. Now, do not read past in 3 years. Do not read that. Just add 3 to 9, to X plus 9. So that's X plus 12. And then this is X plus 3, right? All right. So that's pretty straightforward, right? Filling out the box is really pretty easy. Now, I have earned my right to move forward. In 3 years, I've got to write my equation. I'm going to use only the in 3 years information. So for Dina, I'm writing that, and for Joseph, I'm writing that. It says Dina's age, X plus 12. Okay, Dina's age will be, this is future tense of is, equals, right? When it's future, it's will be, but that's the same as Dina is, or Dina will be, right? So
Why is math so future?
okay, will be, very good question. All right, 6 years less than twice Joseph's age. Ooh, that's confusing.
How do you write less? Well, are you still doing distributive?
Well, wait a minute. So, 2x what?
2x minus 3.
Well, it's 6 years less than.
2x minus 3.
So yeah, sort of wait, don't write the 6 yet. 6 years less than. You go. Somebody's talking. Right? You can't have 6 years less than until you have then what? You got to know what the what is. The what is twice Joseph's age, right? And then I'm going to do 6 less than that. What's twice Joseph's age? Twice.
X plus 6. X plus
Twice is 2 parentheses, right? That's 2 times, right? X plus 3. You with me? And then I've got to do the 6 years less than. Minus 6 at the very end. Did you follow me?
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to write 6 minus, right? And then do twice this in. You want the 6 less than at the very end, far right. So I'm going to skip that for a second. I'm going to write twice Joseph's age. Twice is 2 times, 2 parentheses. Joseph's age is X plus 3. Now I put my minus 6 over here. Do you understand that? You see that? All right, and now we're ready to just solve it. So we're just going to solve it real quickly so that I can get you guys out on time. X plus 12 is equal to 2x plus 6 minus 6. Oh, well, the 6 is crossed out, right? The 6 is crossed out. And so all I have to do is solve for x. So I notice I've got x's on both sides of my equal sign. can't solve it until I get them on the same side, right? So I'm going to take the smaller number of x's and subtract that. So I have 12 is equal to x. Oh my gosh, that's it. I don't even have to do any more. 12 is equal to x. X is 12. So now I go back to my question, my word problem. It says, how old is each now? And I look in my now column. It says x is 12, x is Joseph. So Joseph is 12, right? Right now, so I write Joseph is 12 years old, and Dina is what? 12 plus 9?
Oh,
21 years old. And I am done, you guys. All right, good job. Shoot. Just, yeah.